Today I want to talk to you about LTL freight, that's less than truckload freight, and how it cost us a very good customer within our network, a customer that had a whole lot of potential. And we're definitely not in the business of losing customers. We're in the business of acquiring good customers and keeping those customers over a long period of time so that we can move loads and make money. Some of you will hear this story and you'll say to yourself, I'm going to avoid less than truckload freight. You know what, Brandon? I'm just going to focus my attention on moving FTL or full truckload freight because full truckload freight does not come with the problems that LTL freight comes with. And you're saying that because you really don't understand your job as a freight broker. You don't understand why shippers are hiring you. Shippers are hiring you as a freight broker because of your ability to solve their problems. And their problems just don't extend to the FTL space. They also have problems in the LTL space. And if you have a service that can work well in both of those spaces, then you stand better chances at making more money because you're going to have more opportunities to move their freight. So what am I saying here? You need to be able to understand LTL freight well enough that you prepare your shippers for LTL freight movement. You give them the right expectations. When you give them the expectation that everything is going to go well, they're not going to have any problems, that's what they expect, especially when they don't already understand the LTL space. And sometimes we overpromise and underdeliver. The reason why we had problems with this customer is because we didn't give them the right expectations. It's because we assumed that they already knew how the LTL space worked. I said, okay, these customers are moving LTL freight, so they know how LTL freight works. But regardless of what you think, a lot of customers don't understand the space. So it's your job as a freight broker to prepare them for what to expect. Here's what happened with us in moving this LTL freight movement that cost us this customer. You see, we were moving a load from New Jersey down into Florida. And this customer expected that the load would be there in a 4-day period of time because that's what we told them. That's what the carrier told us. But unfortunately, what happens with LTL freight is you have multiple loads on a truck. And when you have multiple loads, what affects one load in front of your load affects your load as well. So for example, if one load that's in front of yours gets delayed, that means that your load will get delayed as well. That's what happened in this situation. The load that we were moving, the load in front of ours got delayed, and now we had a problem getting our load on time to our shipper. And not only was it delayed, it was delayed excessively. That load didn't get there until day 10 when we had said that it would get there at day 4. And not only did the load get there late, guess what else happened? The load was damaged. You see, when you're moving LTL freight, damage is highly probable because when you have loads stacked on top of each other and those loads may be fragile, those loads can get damaged very easily. And we were moving cookies in this case. Loads were stacked on top of it and it smashed the cookies. So when the load arrived late, it also arrived damaged. And this caused some serious problems with the customer. The customer was breathing down my neck asking me, Brandon, where is my freight? Where is my freight? And I'm steadily promising, it's getting here this day, it's getting here this day. And it wasn't getting there on those days. And I was getting bad information from the dispatcher. The dispatcher was giving me this information, I was giving it to the shipper. Now, one thing that would help me out immensely in this situation would be able to track my load. At that time, we were not tracking our loads. We couldn't see where the truck was, so we were just basically relying on the carrier to tell us this is where we are. This is when you should expect a load. If you have tracking visibility, you can see exactly where the load is and you can give your customer an idea of when the load would be there based off of where the truck is, instead of just giving them information based off of what somebody is telling you that could be wrong. And in this case, it turned out to be wrong. And our customer was very upset when the load got there, especially when it got there damaged, and they didn't work with us after this load was delivered. So we lost a customer and we lost money in this situation because we didn't get paid, but we paid the carrier. Here's what I learned in this situation. Number one, as a freight broker, your service is only as good as the carriers that you work with. So you have to make sure that there's proper alignment between you and the carrier. In this case, we were working with a major LTL carrier with a great price. So I didn't take the time to make sure that we were aligned properly. I didn't talk to anybody to find out how does the process work? Who will we talk to when things go wrong? Make sure that if you're working with an LTL carrier that you have a point of contact, you know who you're going to call, who you're going to get information from when things happen. Number two, because of the high probability that damage will occur when moving LTL freight, always offer your shipper additional insurance through the carrier when moving LTL freight. You see, when you're moving LTL freight through major LTL carriers, they offer freight insurance. So you want to give your shipper that option just in case damage occurs, their freight will be taken care of. I think this will probably have helped us to maintain that relationship instead of losing that shipper. Number three, freight visibility is an absolute must in my opinion. No, not all shippers require that you have freight visibility, but good, serious freight brokerages want to know where their trucks are at all times so they can provide up-to-date, accurate information to their shippers on where their freight is. Also, don't just rely on these old triangulation tools used with the cell phone. The GPS is the best way to go in my opinion. You can get access to GPS data through something called Trucker Tools. Check it out when you get a chance. So there you have it. It's not always an easy task to acquire good customers, so it just passes the common sense test to keep the good customers that you already have. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. And if you're interested in learning more about the freight broker business, I'll leave a free link in the description. It's my 5-video series titled How the Load Movement Process Works. And it'll give you a chance to come into the office with me and listen in as I talk to shippers, talk to carriers, so you can get a better understanding of how this business works. And if you're ready to go out and get your load board, one of the best load boards in the business is TRUCKSTOP. I have a free link in the description that gives you a 1-month free access to TRUCKSTOP's load board. So go ahead and dig in now. See you at the top because the bottom is much too crowded.